Hello, my name is David Shipley, and I'm the Chief Executive Officer and co-founder of Beauceron Security. One of the questions we often get right off the bat is, why did you name your cybersecurity company and technology after a sheepdog from northern France, which is what a Beauceron actually is? It came from our work at the University of New Brunswick, where we discovered that if you educate and empower, if you help people know and care more about security, you turn them from the passive victims of cybercrime into the active defenders, from the sheep into the sheepdogs. I've had an interesting career path in founding Beauceron Security. I've been a Canadian Armed Forces soldier, a newspaper reporter, a marketer, and an accidental cybersecurity professional. I got involved in cybersecurity Mother's Day 2012 after the University of New Brunswick was attacked by a hacktivist group called Team Digital. Interestingly enough, the leader of that particular group was actually a US Navy sailor hacking us from a US Navy nuclear aircraft carrier at the time, and it's the one and only time I've ever seen NCIS outside of the CBS TV show. During my time at the University of New Brunswick, I discovered that cybersecurity is less about technology and more about people, process, and culture. And while there, I realized there was an opportunity to do more in my role running the security program for a 3,000 person organization. I wanted to create a cybersecurity platform that would enable me to be more effective in my job, to do more with the data and create new insights into the human aspects of cyber risk, and to give people more of a reason to care more about cybersecurity. We launched our company in June 2017 with 5 early adopter customers. Today, we have more than 300 around the world, including one of the world's top 10 banks with 100,000 employees. And while we've been built to meet the security and regulatory needs of large enterprises, we serve the needs of hundreds of smaller businesses in a variety of sectors, from information and technology to banking, from government to manufacturing. When our industry has talked about cybersecurity in the past and presented information such as 5 of the top 7 risks come from humans, it often leaves folks with the impression that people are the problem or humans are the weakest link. But the reality is, as you know, your team members are your greatest asset. And our challenge in 2021 is no longer about training and awareness. Our challenge is making people care more and care consistently more about cybersecurity. That's why we pioneered a new concept. It's the idea of a personal cyber risk score that every employee can see, and when they do good things like taking their annual training, reporting phishing simulation exercises, or other good security behaviors, their score improves. If they make a mistake or they have a risk, their score changes, but it gives them an opportunity and an incentive to want to improve. This is the personal dashboard that every employee can see, and when they're onboarded, the first thing they do is a short survey. We ask, how much do you know about cybersecurity? How much do you care? What do you think about the organization's approach? We also measure how much is your work-provided email address showing up in the dark web or criminal data breach sets, so we can educate you further automatically about the risk to you as an individual and follow up to make sure you've done things like change passwords or turned on multi-factor authentication. After they're done their survey and training and their score improves, they're then phished automatically. And we recommend a monthly random phishing approach where each employee gets a different phish of increasing difficulty. Now here's where we're different from other organizations. When we send out our phishing campaigns and people positively spot and report them using our Report a Phish button, they're rewarded on their risk score and they see the benefit to themselves and the organization of that good activity. We give them a way to win at the game of phishing. Secondly, if they do fall victim, one thing that's different about our platform is that their score takes a hit. So when they get to the big scary landing page, it shows they've clicked on a phishing email and get the automatic remedial training, they now have an incentive to want to do that follow-up training so they can get their points back on their score. That's how we help people care more and care more consistently about security. When we talk about doing more with data, one of the things that we help do is get more value out of things like the phishing simulation report. And while we target areas like the phishing click rate and report rate, we also look for more important metrics like, well, how often are people clicking and submitting credentials? Who are the repeat clickers as well as the repeat reporters? And finally, one area that we've pioneered is the idea of tagging the emotions that we're targeting in the phishing email templates when we send them out or you create them. And what we're trying to do is get a better sense for what emotions seem to be working the most for your organization, and going beyond just training that talks about senders and attachments and links and into talking about emotional intelligence and mindfulness. Because while the industry has done a good job talking about the technical aspects of phishing, it hasn't talked enough about the emotional aspects of phishing and how we can use that data to help people recognize if there are certain emotions where they can be hijacked to bypass what they would normally do and fall victim to these phishes. Behind the scenes, we're gathering very insightful analytical data on the human side of cyber risk to answer 3 key questions for leaders and IT executives. Those questions are: how are we doing on the human side of cyber risk? How do we compare to others? And what are specific risk areas or behaviors we can identify and work on to further improve the security for our organization? And our platform is easy to deploy. Because we're hosted in Microsoft Azure and we integrate seamlessly with things like Office 365, G Suite, Exchange, Outlook, and more, we can get you up and running in as little as 4 weeks using a 4-step deployment process. And we have an impact. Our customers can see 3 times the reduction in phishing simulation click rates, 3 times faster than some of the leading competitors. And we can save you hundreds of hours of time in running your security awareness and careness programs. You can spend as little as an hour a month working on these issues, or you can spend more time customizing the content and the platform to have more impact. And finally, the score itself is a reminder that management cares about cybersecurity. And it's the old Peter Drucker saying of what gets measured is what gets managed.